You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is Acupuncture on Air, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in this studio Heiko from the Acupuncture Clinic in Hastings. How you going, Heiko?
I'm very good, Ken. And you? How's everything with this daylight saving back to normal now?
No, I hate it when it goes back.
Oh, no, I love it when it's normal time.
No, I like to, But it's funny, but I guess acupuncture could cure that. Acupuncture can cure everything. We've got a special guest on the show today. We'd like to introduce our guest, please, Heiko.
We've got with us Rob Moore, and he's an acupuncturist from working in Mount Maunganui, and he's also involved with rock climbing. So how you going, Rob?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it's great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Now, Rob, there isn't a thing that Heiko says acupuncture can't fix or help with, but acupuncture for rock climbers?
Yep. So let's just hear a bit about you, Rob. Your background. I mean, of course, I know that you're an acupuncturist, but I know that you've got a bit of a background. I think initially was it motocross racing or riding?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of motocross. I grew up, my dad was a bit of a motorbike sort of guy, so I did race motocross for a little bit. But yeah, I've had a big background in high performance sport.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a bit about sort of that and how you made the transition from doing that to becoming an acupuncturist and now going back to the rock climbing?
Yeah, I've had a lot of changes going on, I suppose, in my life. I started out as a rock climber back in the early 90s. I grew up in Palmerston North, and I had a rock climbing gym down in Palmerston North with a couple of other guys from Massey University. It got started up, and then I came in and became one of the owners with those guys and got involved in competition rock climbing in around about 1996. And then I moved to Mount Maunganui in 99, and I started building a rock climbing gym up there, which was then called the Rock House, and now it's called Rocktopia. And as part of being involved with the sport of climbing, I was on the New Zealand Sport Climbing Federation back then, and I was running the federation with a few other people and trying to make climbing pretty big in New Zealand. And then around about 2006 or 2007, I decided that I wanted to go and try something else. So I started studying acupuncture in New Zealand at the New Zealand School of Acupuncture under Olatunji when he was there.
You ended up in France, I think, to finish your training.
Yeah, I got a scholarship to go and study in France, and so I finished off my acupuncture studies over there. And then while I was in France, I was racing mountain bikes over there, and then doing a few crazy races. There's a race called the Mega Avalanche, which starts on a big mass start race where you start on snow at the top of a ski field, and you race 6 kilometres of snow first on this big race where everyone slides off at the start and basically forms a big avalanche of riders tangled together flying down a hill. That was a bit of fun. And then I did a few races around Europe on the mountain bike, and then came back to New Zealand, and just recently, 2 years ago, I got rung back up by a lady who said that she wanted me to be involved with climbing back at Mount Maunganui. So I reluctantly at the time said, I'll come and have a look and see what's going on, and then it all sort of snowballed from there, and now I'm back in New Zealand full time, and I've got my acupuncture clinic in Mount Maunganui that I'm running, and I'm also the head coach for Climbing New Zealand, and now doing a lot more work with climbing again than I thought I would be in the past. So yeah, but running the acupuncture clinic with my wife here in Mount Maunganui, and we have another acupuncturist in our clinic, and then doing the climbing as well.
So not only are you doing the climbing yourself, but you're treating local rock climbers, you're training them as well. You're going to Australia very shortly with your rock climbing, and then to China. Tell us a bit more about the training that's involved.
So what what we've done is we've centralised the New Zealand training facility. Rock climbing became an Olympic sport a couple of years ago, and as part of an Olympic sport, if you want to try and move forward, you really need to centralise your New Zealand training facility. So we've centralised our training facility here in Mount Maunganui, and so we have the New Zealand, or Climbing New Zealand, High Performance Training Centre here. We're tied in with the High Performance Sport New Zealand through the Adams Centre in Mount Maunganui, and the guys that are also the top climbers from around New Zealand have moved here and based themselves here, and then on the weekends we get a few other people coming here as well, and the climbers that are based here are training around about 30 hours a week.
Wow.
And I've just come from training now, so they start training at 6 o'clock most mornings, and then a lot of days they're training 3 times a day, and yeah, really trying to change.
What's the sort of the age gap of these trainers? What sort of are they under 30 or over 16 or what?
Well, the youngest guys we've got one of the national champions is 10, but he lives here already. So at the training sessions that I run in the mornings, the young guys that are still at school from 10 to 16 years old, they're training till 7:30, and then they go off to school, and then the other guys keep on training for a few more hours. And the older guys are around about 20 years old.
Did you hear that, Ken? The older
The older guys are 20. Gee. There's no hope for us, Heiko. Now, you're going to Chong Quing, is that how you say it, Heiko?
It's close enough, yeah. You're going there with, is it 5 or 6 people, Rob? You're going in May, I think, isn't it?
In total, including me going to Chongqing.
Yeah.
And then we've got a speed climbing World Cup there, and then a bouldering World Cup. And then we moved to Tai'an, which is in the mountains a little bit, and we've got a speed climbing and bouldering World Cup there as well.
So tell us actually what speed climbing is. Is it? I mean, is it just climbing really fast? Is it?
Well, yeah,
That's what it must be.
Yeah, so climbing as a sport is broken into 3 different categories, and for the new Olympic format, each climber has to do each of the categories, and it's their combined total. So the first category is speed climbing, and it's basically climbing on a 15-metre high wall, and the climbing holds are bolted on the wall exactly the same. Everywhere you go all around the world, the wall is exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
So they're climbing on a specific route. And the guys that are winning that are climbing under 6 seconds up a 15-metre high wall. So
that's fast.
If you look it up on YouTube, it is crazy. You wouldn't believe how fast these guys are going. They're crazy fast.
Actually, you're talking about YouTube. I'm quite a fan of extreme climbing, not doing it, looking at it. And the upper body strength of some of these climbers just must be incredible, but the damage to their muscles must also be incredible. Is that what happens?
Yeah, well, in any sort of training, we're breaking muscles down and then trying to get the body to rebuild them. And I think that's probably where a lot of the acupuncture that we're doing with these guys is really helpful too, because, to become stronger, you've sort of got to trick your body into wanting to come back stronger than it was the day before it got hammered a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I see Heiko's got on his notes here that acupuncture can treat injuries that rock climbers might get, but he says it can be used to improve their ability. Is that a bit like using acupuncture as a steroid almost?
I hope nobody finds out about that.
Especially the Chinese.
Well, I think the Chinese might be onto it already. There's certain points that we can use for treating the muscles, and there's other points for treating the tendons and sinews. There's points we can use for bringing energy up in the body, and there are lots of different styles of acupuncture too, and you guys started off saying about daylight savings. On the style that I sort of trained in, there are points for bringing your body back into line with the time clock and things as well, so...
It's hard to believe, isn't it? It's like you say, Heiko, there's acupuncture for everything.
For everything, Ken. Even for you. There's hope for you.
So I suppose joking aside though, when I mentioned that with steroid, everyone associates steroids with almost like cheating, isn't it? Giving your body a bit of an edge. But are you giving people a bit of an edge when you give them a needle? And it's, of course, must be totally legal.
Yeah, no, you definitely can. I mean, I've... In Sydney, not so much here, but I used to treat quite a lot of athletes in Sydney, particularly the bodybuilders and the weight trainers, the kung fu people. And, like for one example is one of the points below the knee, it's actually called 3-leg mile, because it had this tradition that if you needle that point, you have enough strength to walk an extra 3 miles. So it has that reputation to really strengthen the body, and it improves muscle tone and the strength and energy and so forth. Fundamentally, through enhancing the digestive system, we say that it enhances the ability for your stomach and your spleen to absorb and spread the nutrients better, and I think that's some of the stuff that Rob's doing. Are you doing much moxibustion, Rob? I mean, I know that myself that you can mox at certain points to improve performance. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Moxa. I think it's fundamental for bringing up the energy levels, and not just athletes. It's very important for those guys as well. But I'm using Moxa all the time in my clinic. It's one of the main things that I'll be using alongside the needles. And definitely for the climbers, to bring the energy levels up and to help with all sorts of conditions. Moxa is just such an important tool.
Do you have much of a following from other athletes? I mean, I guess not that you've got a captured market with climbers, but you're associated with them. But do you have like boxers and wrestlers and guys who ride bikes come to see you for extra energy as well?
Yeah, it's amazing actually, because you sort of think when you come out of college way back then that you're going to specialise in certain areas, and for me, I didn't really want to specialise in sport stuff. For me, I was more wanted to work on wellness of the whole body and depression and anxiety and that, and I suppose Heiko might have some people in that have depression and anxiety stuff as well, but that was where I really wanted to focus. But with such a big background in high performance sport and having a very vast knowledge of physiology and especially sports physiology, I tend to attract a lot of athletes, more so for injuries. I'm treating athletes all the time for injuries. I have a lot of mountain bikers, road cyclists, triathletes, those sort of things. I don't think I've ever had a boxer or a wrestler before. That's an interesting one.
So that's I've had not here, but I had lots in Sydney. I mean, I was in Sydney in Chinatown with all the kung fu school and all the boxing academies. So it's just by default that you treat one, the next thing you treat
them all.
Yeah.
Are you surprised, or are the people that you treat, Rob, are they surprised that it works?
Yeah. Sometimes they are pretty surprised. Actually, even this morning, one of my climbers was having a little bit of issues with her digestive system, and so I just stuck on some little press tacks, the sticky plasters that have a tiny little needle in them, and just tried to get the energy of the stomach to go the right way, because it was the stomach energy for her. I didn't look into it too much, but it was going the wrong way, and she was getting a lot of reflux and things like this. So just to bring the energy back down to make her feel a little bit better, we can put these press tacks in a point, and she goes, "Oh, what are those things going to do? They're just little plasters." I said, "Oh, just push on them for a little bit and we'll see what happens." And then, within even under a minute, she was going, "Oh, I can feel everything settling back and it feels a lot better. I'm not getting this reflux anymore, So, even just little things along the way that she was feeling so uncomfortable in her training because of this little digestive problem. It's so good just to be able to have those tools right there with the acupuncture to get these guys to be able to keep training and getting better and stronger each day.
So that's what I think is going to be a big advantage for them when they're in China, because they've got a coach who's also the physician. So I'm sure they're going to do really well. We're probably coming up near the end of our time, aren't we, Ken?
Yeah, we have. But I've just got one more question for you, Rob. That you often see ads on television where famous athletes are using an energy drink, and I wonder when you come back from a strenuous climb, because it must be, must take its toll on your body. And would you, for instance, prefer to have an energy drink yourself to give you that energy back, or would you give yourself a needle or some Moxa? What works best?
Yeah, for me, I get these guys to stay away from energy drinks. For me, Moxa and needles and a good whole food is far better than any energy drinks could be giving them. So, yeah, for me, the ancient technique of what the acupuncture can give us is just far greater long term, you know. So
Those energy drinks, they're mainly good for the shareholders of the companies that own them. I think, yeah, that's
You might be
it's
right,
an ultimate gimmick, I think. So, yeah, but listen, yeah, we wish you the best with going to China, and I understand that most of these kids, they're all self-financing themselves to go, and I know that New Zealand government's probably not too forthcoming in providing financial support. I'd just like to say out there, anyone listening, if there's any like you can, devoted, interested rock climbers, to get your checkbook out and then help Rob and his squad to get to China.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our girls has already qualified for the Youth Olympics in Argentina in October. So we've got a few trips before we get there. We've got Youth World Champs in Russia this year. We're taking a team there. And then we've got Open World Champs in Innsbruck in September. And then in October we're off to Argentina for the Youth Olympics. First time ever that we've had an Olympic climber. So Sarah Tetzlaff is our Olympic girl.
Fantastic news. So we look forward to hearing good news about her winning.
And when do you think you'll be hanging up your crampons?
Crampons are used for mountain climbing, not for rock climbing.
See how dumb I am.
Oh, different sport, yeah.
Just remind our listeners, Rob, if we want to come and see you at your clinic, where are you?
I'm Mount Acupuncture in Mount Maunganui. We're on the internet and on Facebook, so yeah, look up Mount Acupuncture.
Yeah, once we get it up on the YouTube, I'll put up a link for the website for the clinic so people can contact Rob and send more people there for rock climbing and anything else.
Yeah, great. And I've taken a good picture of the guys training this morning with weights hanging off their belts while they're trying to strengthen their fingers. So I'll send that to you too, Heiko.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we will do that.